Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Since you're already on the second video regarding on the parts of chapter number 3, which is yung first part na diniscuss natin, is all about research methodology and design. The second part that we will be discussing now is that yung tinatawag natin na population and sampling technique. And since nandito ka na, I do believe that your research advisor or your research consultant was able to help you in conceptualizing and selecting the research methodology and design that you will be using. And ngayon, ang sunod mo ng task after mong makapili ng research methodology and design for your research paper is papaano naman natin i-identify or pipiliin yung mga respondents or participants na pwedeng mag-participate sa paper natin. So, first thing that you have to understand, the term respondents is only used if the nature of your research paper will fall under quantitative methodology. Then the term participants o di kaya naman subject ay ginagamit kapag ang nature ng ating methodology will fall under qualitative. Okay po, so please be reminded with that, napakahalaga ng mga key terms na yan. So ngayon, to start our discussion regarding on how we should create and compose our population and sampling technique, let's have this simple steps ulit. So I was able to create simple steps that we should follow for writing the population and sampling technique. Katulad ng methodology, kailangan makapag-identify tayo ng tama na angkop na set of respondents or participants na dapat mag-participate sa paper natin. Kasi kapag hindi tayo makakapili ng appropriate set or group of respondents and participants na pwedeng mag-participate sa paper natin, sayang yung effort na ibibigay natin sa paper natin. And at the same time, baka yung information na makuha natin ay hindi talaga sumasagot doon sa nature ng problem na pinag-aaralan natin. Okay? So let's now talk about the steps in writing the population and sampling technique. So the first one that we have here is that we must first define the population. Pag sinabi nating define population, saan ba natin huhugutin yung ating mga respondents or mga participants? Saan ba natin sila kukuhanin? Sila ba ay sa grupo ng mga estudyante? Kung estudyante, sila ba ay elementary pupils? Sila ba ay junior high school students? Sila ba ay senior high school? Or sila ba ay college? Halimbawa, grupo ng mga professional. O sila ba ay nagtatrabaho sa private organization? Or nagtatrabaho sa government? Okay? Or halimbawa, sila ay grupo ng mga manggagawa. Kung sila man ay grupo ng manggagawa, sila ba ay nasa blue collar, white collar, o anong population, saan manggagaling yung mga participants na pwedeng mag-participate sa paper natin. So that's the first thing that we have to know. Ano ba yung population na pagkukuhanan natin ng ating respondents? This is the group. Okay? Example, I have here the example. Kanina, kung matatandaan ninyo yung example natin sa research methodology and design. The first sample doon is may kinalaman sa level of engagement and motivation of the students towards technological tools. At ang na-identify nila na group or population na pagkukuhanan nila ng respondents ay mga elementary pupils. So, in this example, nakalagay dito, the population for this study consists of 3rd to 6th grade pupil enrolled in public primary schools in Balayan, Batangas who have been affected by the shift to online learning during COVID-19 pandemic. When you are identifying your population, kailangan maliwanag din yung lokale kung saan natin sila kukuhanin. For example, dito, identified na yung ating population. They are grade 3 and grade 6 pupils enrolled in public primary schools. Saan sila manggagaling? E di sa mga primary schools in Balayan, Batangas. So that's now the clear description of our population. Then halimbawa, maliwanag na yung population natin. Ano yung sunod natin gagawin? Saan natin kukuhanin yung data? So kailangan natin i-specify yung sampling frame. Saan natin kukuhanin yung pangalan ng mga grade 3 at grade 6 pupils na ito? No, it can be accessed, or it can be accessed through the records of the school, for example, databases, o di kaya naman may record ang munisipyo ninyo ng mga pangalan ng mga private organization, non-profit organization, o di kaya naman halimbawa yung isang uh, office na pupuntahan ninyo, for example, mga bangko, meron silang listahan ng pangalan ng kanilang mga employees. So, saan ninyo kukuhanin yung listahan, yung mga pangalan, yung information ng inyong mga respondents and participants? So, tingnan ninyo itong example natin sa nila kinuha. The sampling frame will be based on the enrollment records. So maliwanag, sa enrollment records, manggagaling yung kanilang data from local public school, providing a comprehensive list of all 3rd to 6th graders currently participating in online learning. So manggagaling sa mga enrollment records sa mga public school sa Balayan, yung pangalan ng mga estudyante. Then after that, halimbawa, nakita mo na, oh my God, ang dami pala ng bilang ng grade 3 and grade 6, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, and grade 6 pupils na nasa public schools sa Balayan. Paano ko ngayon na-identify kung sino-sino sa mga taong ito ang magiging respondents ng study ko, or sino-sino sa mga batang ito ang magiging respondents sa study ko, or sino-sino sa mga professionals na ito, sa mga manggagawa na ito ang magiging respondents ng study ko. So doon ngayon papasok yung step number 3. You have to choose appropriate sampling technique for your paper. Pag sinabi natin sampling technique, dalawa yung pwede ninyong pagkuhanan. It can be probability sampling technique, or it could be non-probability sampling technique. By the way, I have a different video discussions regarding to the different sampling technique na pwede ninyong gamitin. Under non-probability sampling technique, may mga sampling techniques iyon. Under ng probability sampling techniques, may mga sampling techniques iyon na pwede ninyong pamilihan. So hindi ka pwede basta-basta pipili. Dapat depende sa needs ng paper na pinag-aaralan. Okay, so for example, dito sa ating reference materials, a stratified random sampling technique. So a stratified random sampling technique, technically under to ng probability sampling technique, will be employed to ensure representation from all levels. Pupils will be divided into groups based on their grade, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So para daw magkaroon ng equal representation, yung bawat grade, gagamit sila ng stratified random sampling technique. Okay po, so that's it. Ngayon, dapat alam mo din kung ilan ang magiging sample size mo. Isa to sa palaging tinatanong during defense. Ano yung naging basis mo for coming up with that particular sample size? Halimbawa, gumamit ka ba ng Slovene formula? Nung gumamit ka ba ng Slovene formula, ano yung lumabas na sample size na kailangan kapag ang bilang ng population ay nasa 300 plus? So I have discussion about this one then. How we should determine the sample size. Kapag qualitative, madali lang. Basta meron ka lang criteria, tapos kung sino-sino yung makakapasok sa criteria na yon, magkaroon ka lang ng 5 hanggang 10 participants for your qualitative, that's already good kasi qualitative ka naman by nature, hindi naman generalizable ang data. Pero kapag quantitative, ang methodology mo, isa yan sa palaging pinagtutuunan ng pansin ng mga panelists. How did you determine the sample size for your study? Gumamit ka ba ng Slovene formula? Gumamit ka ba ng G formula? Anong formula ang ginamit mo, or ano yung basis mo? Bakit ka nag-come up with that sample size? Kailangan meron tayong rationale behind the number. So tingnan natin itong sample. The study aims include approximately 100 students, with 25 participants from each level. The size is sufficient to provide meaningful insights while capturing diverse perspective. So ito yung kanilang sample size. Ang sample size nila is madami. 100. So madami na yan. Take 25 per grade level. 25 sa grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6. 100 ang total. Okay? And then, you should also provide criteria for the selection of your respondents. Kasi halimbawa, yung total population ng iyong group na nakuha ay nasa 200 plus. Tapos ang kailangan mo lang naman na sample size ay 100. Pag sinabi nating total population, ito yung bilang ng mga individual na kabilang doon sa grupo na pagkukuhanan mo ng respondents. Pag sinabi nating sample size, ito yung bilang ng respondents or participants na mapaparticipate sa paper mo. Katulad nga kanina, ang population natin is more than 200 pupils. And then, papaano mo pipiliin yung 100 pupils, which is your sample size, out of 200? Ano-ano ang iyong criteria? Ano ang sampling technique na gagamitin mo para ma-identify yung 100 respondents na kailangan sa study mo, considering na mayroong 200 na bata? You have to explain the criteria. So example natin, participants must have been actively engaged in online learning for at least one semester or one quarter or one grading, ganun yata sa public. Then parental consent and student agreement will be required for participation. So dapat pumayag din ang parents as part of their criteria kasi mga bata yan. And then for the discussion of recruitment, pag sinabi nating discussion of recruitment, paano mo ipapaalam sa mga napili mo na respondents na sila ay magiging bahagi ng study? How are you going to recruit them? Paano mo sila mapapapayag na mag-participate sa paper mo? So based dito sa sample natin, participants or respondents, the term should be respondents. Respondents will be recruited through their schools by sending consent form to parents or guardians. Parent will receive detailed information about the study's purpose and procedure. So sa madalit sabi, magpapadala daw ang mga researchers ng letter dun sa school, tapos yung school na yun, ipapadala yung letter sa mga parent and guardian, na kung saan nakalagay doon yung purpose and procedure ng study. Then after that, though ito napaka-seldom na inilalagay, pero masanay na din tayo na inilalagay natin siya sa sampling technique. How we should protect the confidentiality of our respondents and participants. How we should address ethical considerations. So nakalagay dito, all data collected will remain confidential and personal information will be anonymized in the final report to ensure respondents' right and privacy are protected. So ganun daw nila iingatan ang information ng kanilang mga respondents. Hindi siya ganun ka-detailed. Hindi siya ganun kahaba. Kasi meron namang separate part ng research paper ninyo about ethical considerations. Kumbaga ito ay pahapyaw lang, pasilip lang. Okay? So these are the steps. These are the 7 steps. Kapag nasunod nyo yan, ito yung kalalabasan niyan. Tingnan natin yung sample number 1. The population for this study consists of 3rd to 6th grades, 3rd to 6th grade pupils enrolled in public primary schools in Balayan, Batangas who have been affected by the shift to online learning during the pandemic-19 or COVID-19. So ito yung population and nandiyan na din yung lokale. Ano yung sampling frame? The sampling frame will be based on the enrollment records from local public schools, providing a comprehensive list of all 3rd to 6th graders currently participating in online learning. Paano pipiliin yung kanilang mga respondents? A stratified random sampling technique will be employed to give equal representation from all grade levels. Students will be divided into different grade, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then, ilan ang magpa-participate? There will be 100 pupils na magpa-participate sa study, 25 respondents per grade level. Sorry dun sa mga technical errors, no? And then, may justification kung bakit 100 ang kanilang respondents. Then after that, ano yung criteria? Participants must have been active in online learning and for at least one semester. Parent consent and student agreement will be required for participation. So that's it. And then, papaano yung recruitment process? Participants will recruited through their schools by sending consent letter to parents and guardians with detailed information about the study's purpose and procedure. And then, paano iingatan yung confidentiality? All data collected will remain confidential and personal information will be anonymized in the final report to ensure participants' rights and privacy are protected. Okay. That's sample number 1. Tingnan natin yung sample number 2. Tingnan natin. The population for this study consists of customers who have made purchases from various online retail platforms within the past 6 months. So maliwanag, sino ang kanilang magiging population? Mga customers who have purchased from various online within 6 months. Okay. Ano yung magiging time frame? Saan manggagaling yung data? The sampling frame will include customer databases from selected online retail platforms, ensuring that all recent purchases are accounted for. So, kukuha daw sila sa mga databases ng mga online retail platforms. And then, papaano yung pagpili ng respondent? A stratified random sampling technique will be utilized. And then, ilan ang magiging respondents for the study? There will be 200 customers, okay, with 50 participants per stratum. Since sila is stratified, so ang mangyayari siguro dyan, mahati siya per stratum. Siguro ay 50 para sa online platform na to, 50 para sa online platform na to, 50 para sa online platform na to, 50 para sa online platform na to. Hanggang mabuo nila yung 200 na customers. Yun kasi yung ibig sabihin ng stratified random sampling technique. Meron tayong strata or meron tayong magiging division. So katulad dito, 50 respondents per stratum. So maaaring 50 sa Shopee, 50 sa Lazada, 50 sa TikTok, 50 sa Facebook. Basta ang mahalaga dapat, ang total niya ay 200 customers. Okay? Ano yung kanilang criteria? The participants must have at least one purchase from online retail platform in the past 6 months and must at least 18 years old. Consent to participate will also be required. So that's it. Di ba? Lino na criteria nila. Then after that, ito pa, may criteria pa rin dito. Participants will be recruited. I mean, paano i-recruit yung mga participants? They will be recruited by sending email, no, or invitation to their emails. Okay? That's it. Then nakalagay doon sa invitation na yon yung studies purpose, procedures, and estimated time required to complete the survey. Paano iingatan ng confidentiality? All responses will be confidential, blah, blah, blah. There you go, di ba? Napakasimple lang ng kanilang narrative regarding on the sampling technique that they have sa kanilang manuscript. Tingnan natin yung sample number 3. Kung nakasunod ba siya doon sa steps na diniscuss ng Sir kanina. So, ang group nila will be coming from professional accountants. Maliwanag naman. Ano ang kanilang magiging sampling frame? Manggagaling daw ang listahan sa mga accounting firms o di kaya naman corporate finance department and independent practitioners. So doon daw manggagaling yung listahan ng mga professional accountants na magpa-participate sa paper. Ano yung kanilang gagamiting sampling technique? They will be using purposive sampling. So since purposive sampling yan, dapat meron silang maayos na criteria. Tingnan natin mamaya kung may criteria sila. So purposive sampling technique ang kanilang gagamitin. Ilagay nila yung justification, bakit purposive sampling technique. And at the same time, meron na sila ditong overview ng kanilang criteria. Dapat daw nakaranas ng advanced accounting software and meron silang relevant insight or live experience or meaningful experience regarding the transition from traditional accounting to modern accounting siguro. And then ilan yung magiging participant nila? So they have 15 to 20 participants. So sobrang dami nito no para sa qualitative. Pero siguro kaya naman nila yan. And then ano yung kanilang magiging criteria? Participants must be professional accountants with at least 1 year experience of using new accounting software and must currently employed in a relevant position. Paano i-recruit yung kanilang mga participants sa pamamagitan ng networking? Networking, siguro baka may mga kakakilala na pwedeng maging participant, so gano'n na lang, networking. And then, nakalagay sa invitation kung ano yung purpose, procedure, then assurances of confidentiality. Paano iingatan yung information ng mga participants? Participants will be informed of their right to withdraw at any time, and then the researchers will be, or the researchers of the study will make sure that they will comply with the confidentiality and anonymity of the data provided by their participants. So technically, these are the ways or the steps on how we should compose our population in sampling technique. And I hope and I pray that we will able to comply with these steps kasi napakalinaw naman ng discussions natin about this one. And please be reminded lang, no, though may mga technical errors ako dun sa mga samples kanina, we only use the term respondents kapag quantitative and we use participants for the qualitative. So thank you so much, my dear researchers. I hope and I pray that you will be able to pass and will be able to create your population and sampling technique section of your manuscript. So thank you so much and bye-bye. God bless.